router safety video. Always have safety glasses on, first step. Now, notice there is no bit in the table router. So to do that, unplug always first. Now, find this or a screwdriver alike and unscrew these little screws in the table router plastic circle. Put them in an area where you will not lose them. Take the plastic circle out. Find this tool under the table router and put here and raise it up. Once it's all the way raised, find the bit you want. We'll use this one and put it in. Make sure you get this. Make sure it's not all the way snug down like that. Put it up a little bit so that you can see just a little bit of the silver. Just about there. Now, find these two wrenches under the table router. To tighten, put the one in your left hand on the bottom nut, which is right there. Put the top one like so. Put them like this. Make sure it's at least to a point where you can tighten it. And take it and just squeeze together. Give it one more good little pass. You don't need to He-Man it. It's tight enough. So now that that's all ready and steady, put this thing back on. Line it up with the holes and screw the screws back in. They do not need to be very tight, just enough to keep it down. You don't want to strip the screws out, otherwise you're never going to change a bit. Perfect. Now find this again and lower it down. Get parallel. Lower it down so that the top edge of those little silver parts of the knives is just above the table. Or run a practice piece to see if it's how you want it. Now that's at that point, we can set our fence. To set, first set this. Just make sure it's about a 1/4 inch above the piece of wood that you're going to cut. And a little just above this so it'll clear it. Now to set the fence, you're going to get on this side and line up the fence with the front of this bearing. There's a little silver bearing up here. Line the fence up so that it's even with that. About there. Tighten down the fence. Now you are ready to go. So I want to put this on so that the dust will be collected. You want to plug this back in. Now, get your piece of wood, and you always want to stand clear of an area where it'll shoot pieces at you if that happens. You don't want to be right here, you don't want to be right here, you want to be about right here. And you want to move the wood against the grain, the way it's going to cut. And so if it's spinning this way, you're going to want to move the piece from over this side. when you run it, make sure the piece is up against the fence, always. It's flat against the table. If your piece is thin enough that your fingers are going to touch the bit, use a push stick. Always use a push stick. Now, before I demonstrate it, always run the end grain of the wood first, these ends. Because when you don't, what happens is it'll get to the edge, when you're running it through like this, it'll get to this edge, and the wood will blow out, and it'll look really gross. So if you do this edge first, that's unfixable. If you do this, then when you run the sides, it'll take care of that blowout. I'll demonstrate for you now. The on button is right here. So as I said, it blew out a little bit right there. That's not something that we want. So we'll continue running this and you'll see how it'll be fixed. Drawer front piece, all nice and edged, and you did it safely. That is the table router.